We are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday book launch. I'm Malika Albrecht. I'm the founding editor of Redheaded Stepchild, and this is something we've been doing weekly since, Redheaded Stepchild. Patricia knows how we roll. We've been doing this since March 13th or 12th, no, 13th of 2020, and have been fortunate enough to celebrate several times with Susana Case, and this is my first time getting to celebrate with Jerry Johnson. So I'm going to give y'all a bio, and then I'm going to turn it over to them. You're in for an awesome night. Just to give you a little bit of information, Jerry T. Johnson is a poet and spoken word artist whose poetry has appeared in a variety of literary publications worldwide. Jerry is the author of 2 poetry collections. We're celebrating A Coldness tonight, which was published by Finishing Line Press, and another one, Poets Should Not Write About Politics, which was published by Evening Street Press. His poetry collection, Poets Should Not Write About Politics, was selected winner of Evening Press's 2020 Sinclair Poetry Prize, and his poem, The Apology, was nominated for a Pushcart Prize in 2021. Susana H. Case, for those of y'all who have not already met her, which I would feel bad for you, except that you get the delight of meeting her tonight. So there is that, is the award-winning author of 9 books of poetry. Most recently, If This Isn't Love, Broadstone Books 2023. And I have to tell you, Broadstone Books is kick-ass because so many of the poets we've gotten to celebrate here have been from that press. So kudos to Broadstone. She also was a co-editor, and we were just talking about Margot Taft-Stever of I Want to Be Loved by You, Poems on Marilyn Monroe, and that was Milk and Cake Press in 2022. The first of her 5 chapbooks, The Scottish Cafe, Slapping Hole Press, was re-released in an English-Polish version. Case worked several decades as a university professor and program coordinator in New York City, and she is currently co-editor of Slapping Hole Press. I will put websites and connections or connections to the books where we can get them. But I did want to also ask if either one of y'all or both of y'all would allow us to reach out to you if we wanted a signed copy of these books. So I'm going to turn it over to y'all. Yay.
So I don't know, Jerry, you want to go first, or you want me to go first, or who's...
Go for it. Go for it.
Oh, I think I've already been spotlighted, so okay. I guess. Now we both are spotlighted. Okay. So If This Isn't Love is a book that combines themes from the Italian telenovela with themes from life, real life. So and with an amazing amount of overlap. And the way the book is structured is there are 13 telenovela poems, and then after each telenovela poem, there's a bunch of poems that address similar themes, but not from the telenovela. So, and you'll see what I mean as we go into the rounds. So this is telenovela 7. These are all from a long-running Italian telenovela, Un Posto al Sole. The hands in this story wrench with despair when Marina begins to faint from the strain of remembering her husband shaking her, the pain and violence, his hands almost bronzed in their strength, deliberate in the need to harm. Her wannabe lover grabs her, his prehensile limb robotic. He touches her face, her hair. They kiss, importance of gesture. It's him, him, him. Her suitor is the one who matters. Unseemly, she realizes her hands push Roberto away. She needs to escape. Roberto mourns the loss, clamps his hand on her tight, like that of Pierre d'Aucassin, modeled in Paris by Rodin in 1885, the clenched left hand, one of the burghers of Calais, symbol of the injustice of fate. Rodin made hands look painful, but with expressive possibility, broken, tumorous, clenched. Roberto wants Marina, watches her through a windowed door while she holds her husband's hand, hers soft and soothing. Fabrizio's in a hospital bed, white gown, white sheets, the husband she loves the beast she dreads, who recalls little about last night, maybe a spat. She remembers his hand, still wearing a wedding ring raised, a cobra about to strike.
All right. Poetry casserole. I need verbs, nouns, and onions. And don't go heavy with the salt and the adjectives. Salt and adjectives are okay. Just be smart about how you pour. Peppers, ring your bells loudly. Sweet dates, wait, I need you for gazelles. Garlic, sizzling, and olive oil songs, sing. And Ottava Rima, fine, keep your time. Let your meter ebb, let your meter flow. Kitchen, kitchen, this is your chef speaking. I need 17 spicy flavors for a flambe haiku. Chop, chop, stir it up, add the liqueur, ignite the flame, gaze at the glaze, pause, inhale the aroma, taste it, chew it, savor the flavor, forget about problems, forget about trauma, forget about drama. All I need is a comma and a few enjambments, a whole lot of syllables, melodic, and a bowl and a mixing spoon and a pen and a writing pad to help you forget a bad day. Now let's get down and let's get spicy.
So I'm going to share a screen for just a hot minute here. Okay, can you see this?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is me actually at the age of 30 in India. And I in part, I'm showing this because I know Marjorie always likes the conjunction of visual images and poems in her work. And you remember in the last poem, I have a cobra about to strike. And so the cobra is also here, and the cobra ends up now in this next poem. This is the fortune teller on the Deccan Plateau, which is in India. He points out, I have one snake eye, meaning intelligent but duplicitous, and I ask if the love I have will last, as he wraps his cobra gently around me, weighty and cold. The cobra hoods its neck ribs and hisses. Like a landlocked narwhal without wherewithal is how I feel, like a startled toddler with coal-lined eyes staring. I, who thought to be able to connect to anyone, anywhere, am at a loss, toes dipped stubbornly in the sand. My hair is falling out from a poor diet. Worse, everyone is dying. Back home, female cancers in 3, Lizzie, Susan, Bonnie. The man I lived with before the man I lived with gone. Before the man I lived with gone. I miss my crew, but what can I do about any of it, about that dead ex-lover? Is it best to cut off love when it isn't enough? The fortune teller doesn't know, with his long white beard, silver rings on every finger, only responds, we love the way we've been loved. Good line.
Bravo. Rush hour. Subways and metro trains and shuttle buses and taxis and ride shares and schedules and on-time arrivals and late arrivals and reading while riding and sleeping while riding and oversleeping, missing your stop and rescheduling and rearranging your day and rearranging your life and miles, day after day, and wear and tear and wear and stress for the weary and smiles and frowns and grimaces and smirks and tears and payday and paying bills and paying bills and paying bills and days off and overtime again and overtime again and roadblocks and stalled engines and trees falling on your railroad tracks and morning rush and 5 p.m. deadlock and evening and night and midnight and alarm clock screaming early in the morning.
So the telenovela poem I read had some violence in it, and the violence theme continues with this one, Cézanne Dares to Be Rough, which is based on an artwork. Perhaps Cézanne was inspired by Thérèse Raquin, lovers killing for convenience, as lovers do, Zola's putrid literature. He was still then the painter's friend. The victim appears to be barely there before the final strike of the knife, held down, twisted in pain, and raising her hand to beg for mercy. The murderers' faces are clearer in the watercolor, as all murderers' faces become clearer at the finale, victims disappearing like melting ice. Will they toss her into the sea? They could be anyone in L'Estaque, in any small town of southern France, assassins everywhere so reliable in their violent urges. The deep silence, as in a still life of apples.
Gridlock. 2. Farts, the pachyderm, and hee-haw braids the donkey, while refusing to pull their heads out their derriere. Stink bugs crawl all over my back porch screens, fouling the spring. Flies land on my banisters, looking for opportunities to lay eggs on my sanitized homeland. Contrary are the storms, and contrary are my contradictions, and my contrasts are painted in clashing hues. There are no rainbows after my thunderstorms. There is no eye in my hurricane, and there is no ebbing of my tsunamis. My highways clogged with fumes exhaust my commute. Crashes crunch my causeways. Sirens scream. Rescues halted. Responders can't arrive. Avenues buckle and sink. Sidewalks crumble. Pedestrians stumble. My turbulent airways shake and rumble by my railway tracks. Slow and rusted, my bridges groan. My buildings tumble. Yet all that's being constructed are walls along the Rio Grande, while every other infrastructure falls down. And the pachyderm and the donkey bang gavels, call the chambers to order 2 farts and bray hee-haw, refusing to pull their heads out their derriere.
There are some interesting pairings here, which are completely serendipity, since we didn't know we were going to be doing this. We didn't figure out.
We didn't practice, but we're kind of in sync in a little bit, aren't we?
I know,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I'm going to do one now also involving some traveling, but also following from the violent imagery in the telenovela poem. And this is Night, Guatemala City. Prostitutes line streets of the rich, ambulantes outside fancy houses, walls around properties topped with broken glass. It's where to find men with money, not like La Linea, sex sold in shacks by old railroad tracks, where even driving by to look is dangerous. Babies, too, are sold, children selling children, beholden to gangs. What can philosophy say about adversity like this? Schopenhauer thought suffering inevitable, the nature of life, life not worth living, that we should shelter ourselves with art. We could be like my dogs, heads hidden by blankets, leaving themselves protected. Oh, painting, how can art blanket anyone? Prostitutes line canvases of impressionism, dancing, drinking, resting. See Olympia reclining, her face sallow, expressionless. The market is busy. Everywhere, working women die destitute.
Bad fruit. Shriveled orange skins, black and blue limes, purple apples, black pears, rotted bananas, saddened grapes, withered figs. Bad fruit served daily at breakfast, at lunch, at dinner, at midnight, during the late night snacking fridge raid. Lately, all we've been eating is bad fruit. We spread the table in the morning. With proper etiquette, we hold our knives and our forks. We bite, we chew, we swallow. Later, our guts rebel. We hug stews violently. We puke. We become plague. We become pestilence. We become pandemic. We become epidemic. Slowly, we become bad fruit.
Wow.
So this is another telenovela-based poem, telenovela 8, which changes the subject some. I understand why she's tempted by her lover, less fragile than Fabrizio. Marina looks so sad as she presses her mouth to his sneering lips. Next scene, they're getting dressed again, fumbling with designer skirt and shirt. In fact, she fears Roberto, fears the lack of limits he represents. They're on again, off again, on again, off again. Stronger than she looks, she shoves him away. He yells about their special connection, gestures wildly, pleads, "We belong together." Of course, he says this. I've stored up a cairn of phrases like those, Dodo comments with words the weight of 1,000 stones. Roberto can't close the sale, drags home the baggage of his emotions on broken wheels. Next day, he bangs on her door, refuses to go away. I never stopped loving you. Love's most uttered phrase ever after I'm sorry. I have to confess, I stole Dodo comments from Myra Malkin, who's here, and who made that comment when she read an earlier version of the poem, and I loved it. And I said, I'm taking it. You don't want it. It's mine.
I forgot.
All right. Susana, you and I got to do this live one day.
I'm sorry.
We got to do this live on stage one day.
Yeah.
Back and forth. I've been
Yeah, it's
dreaming about
fun.
doing this for a
It's
long time,
fun.
and
Yeah.
we have to do it live one day. But we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Liberators. A low ceiling of clouds and mist envelops my aircraft. I can't see the ground. I can't see the airport. Can't see treetops, just cloud and mist. Cloud and mist. Suddenly, in the midst, emerges a tall spire, both Gothic and Baroque. And amidst ziggurat, standing sentinel, watching our every move, watching our entry into Warsaw airspace. It is the Ministry of Science and Culture, also so affectionately known as Stalin's wedding cake. It is Sunday, June 5th, 1994, one day before the 50th anniversary of D-Day, also my arrival for my first European assignment. I look at Stalin's wedding cake, his gift to a city raised by fury of Third Reich madmen, while a Red Army just stood afar across the Wisła and watched the rage and the madness, the slaughter, and then marched over, trampling through the ruin, declaring themselves liberators. Liberators of Poland, liberators of Estonia, liberators of Lithuania, liberators Czechoslovakia, liberators of Belarus, liberators of Ukraine, liberators draped in iron curtains, liberators bearing chains. liberators bearing barbed wire and chain fence, liberators for forecasting a Cold War winter, liberators trampling freedom underfoot again.
This is telenovela 9. Watch Chiara vacuuming lines from the coffee table up her sassy nose. She is addicted to blow. Nunzio, her lover, doesn't know. What does she see in him? Handsome, very. But he tails her, jealous of her dilettante friend, with whom he believes she's involved, doesn't realize he's her drug dealer. They have another problem. Rich girl, poor boy. Not so much that he's got no money, but he sulks about it, never smiles. Working class resentments play out in their meager bed. Even a woman flush with cash can feel unworthy. She tries to make her lover happy, to take pleasure in her wealth. Prendere due piccioni con una fava, which means she can't kill two birds with one stone. See Chiara with Nunzio in her favorite fancy restaurant. Nunzio won't let himself enjoy the ossobuco, the wine, the view. Chiara's paying the price among the white linens.
Title poem from my book, A Coldness. During a cruel winter, a frozen lake seems to whisper, the worst is yet to come. Already we erode towards glacial ruin. Little sound is heard in the street. Icicles shiver in desolate corners. Glass chimes tingle, chilling tones. Parents curl up with trembling children, bitten by bitterness. The storm is bitter, the storm is cold. We weep till we are weepless. We faint underneath onslaught of battering upon battering more. We wait for tomorrow's last rage, and sorely we bleed in today's harsh, wintry rain.
Wow. It's amazing.
I'm going to read one out of that I hadn't planned on reading, but I feel like after hearing that, I have to read it in terms of conversation. And this is called Extraordinary Streets. Winters remind me of an old black and white film, people on the sidewalks of Moscow, breaths scouring the air. They carried big blocks of frozen milk. My first thought, not of the cold, but shocked that anyone could drink that much milk. Good thing my grandparents fled. That kind of life not suited to me. Vodka in vending machines, of which I think there could never be enough. Years of daily lines for bread. I prefer to peel off a lighter coat, maybe a hip leather moto jacket or no coat, to write about anything other than death. I've been working on that for years, which is why I'll end now with a ruffled blue silk dress I put on yesterday to float down East End Avenue after lockdown, practicing walking again in heels.
In my book, there's one poem about, but there's two poems about the pandemic, and I'll read one. This one is titled Troubled. Pandemic night number 125. You stir in your sleep. Your eyes pop open. You look at the clock sitting on the nightstand. The time reveals that you only slept for 5 short minutes, and now you are wide awake. You leave your bed. Slowly you walk down the hall, your body weary, your mind overactive, subconscious, troubled. You make a cup of tea. No caffeine, no honey, just warm black liquid. Steam rises, aroma wafts through your troubled space. Midnight arrives. You sip, you meditate. Calmed, you become. Calmed, you become.
This is so much fun. I'm having such a good time here, but I think we're pretty much, I guess this should be the last round, maybe? Okay.
I am loving this so much. I just think we're going to have a conversation about the way y'all, the poems kind of started having a synchronicity going on. That's fabulous. But sure, we'll take as much as y'all are willing to do.
Okay, well, I don't know, Jerry, should we do one more round, two more rounds? You're on mute, so I can't hear you. Okay, well, when you get, you can.
I can do one. I can do two.
Okay.
You know what? I think there's some open micers and stuff that want to get
Yeah,
on.
yeah, I think
Let's do one more round. Let's do one
okay.
more.
So this is called My Halfway House. My mother sang opera off key while she worked in her kitchen, favored Pagliacci, a story of entanglement. The dissonance irritated me as a teenager, but became part of what I hold close, the longing for what itches most after it's gone, for the woman who never got to use her passport. Have a career, she advised. It's less boring. I had a primeval fear she would devour me, like the gerbil mother I once observed in a tank who meticulously consumed all her babies. Have your own money. Don't depend on any man. The colonized body has two choices, and either way, la commedia è finita. Lie down with the devil, don't lie down. There will be nothing when you run out of figs. You will be like the fireflies, practically gone.
Excuse me, sorry. Another martini. A night of abandon, sipping Jim Beam poured over a large, slow melting cube of ice, pretending to be Hemingway once again, seated in a clean, well-lighted place. All ain't right with the world right now, but this space, my current solitude, is all right with me. A beautiful lady dressed in black blouse, black apron, steps up to the bar service counter and says, "Another martini." The bartender laughs and complies, and she thanks him and walks off carrying the martini and other drinks on the wide round serving tray. I start writing, pretending to be Hemingway once again, seated in a clean, well-lighted place. I wonder if Hemingway wrote at least one line or two at Sloppy Joe's Duval Street, Key West, in Key West, or Harry's Bar, excuse me, in Venice, or Hotel Letitia in Paris, or did he just run up bar tabs? Funny, I think to myself, I've been to all three of those hangouts frequented by Hemingway, and I never wrote one line of prose or poetry when I visited those places because all I did was run up bar tabs. Another beautiful lady dressed in black blouse, black apron steps up to the service area. "Another martini," she says. I twirl my pen between my fingers. I move my drink aside and I bring my writing pad closer. I press my pen upon the writing pad. "I'm not Hemingway," I say to myself as I write, as I sit in a clean, well-lighted place. All ain't right with the world right now, but this space, my current solitude, is all right with me.
Okay.
Oh, y'all can all unmute. That was fabulous. Thank y'all so much for the synergy that the poems created, powerful in and of themselves, but the dialogue I saw quite a few people just going, holy smokes, this is really amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's take a moment just to say thank you guys for writing those poems, but also for being willing to try that. And I'm really excited that this means y'all might do this in public sometime. That was fabulous.
Yeah.
Fun and without it, I mean, when I've done it in the past, we've actually planned it out so that the poems were in conversation. So this was just sort of, ad hoc, but it worked. I thought it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. It
I
worked.
thought it worked very well. Yes, I did. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and sometimes ad hoc is really where it's at.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it reminds, it reminded me of one time I was in New Orleans and Andre Kondresky was doing a reading, and instead of answering the questions, he said, "I'll just open the book and read a poem." And I kid you not, the poem sounded like sincere answers to the questions. Sometimes synchronicity just does something, and tonight I felt like it just expanded some of the things y'all were looking at, and some of the issues that the poems were talking about. And plus, you both are so skilled at the sonic architecture that those things just kind of stayed in the air amongst each other in a way that I just found really inspiring. Did anybody have a question I didn't see any questions in the chat section, so I want to make sure that you get a chance to ask any questions. Susana has kindly put where to get If This Isn't Love. And Jerry, if you don't mind, like putting your email address, if people are interested in a signed copy, that way we could reach out to you.
Mhm.
Does anybody have any questions, insights? There are a lot of comments in the chat section that are fabulous.
Mhm.
Wanted to go back to one of them. Yeah, Karen said the synchronicities flowing between the poems being shared by these two poets is so musical and so magical. Yeah,
Mhm.
I felt that strongly. All right,
And-
so awesome. If there
Yeah.
aren't any questions, then we can move to open mic. I have Cal, Julian, Pua Ali'i, Patricia, Shamala, Karen, Marjorie, and Myra. Did I miss anybody? Oh, we've got, okay, good, thanks. All
All
right, I
right.
will start with you, Cal.
Thank you very much. Got a seasonal one for tonight. The 12 Days of Christmas Haiku. First day, our partner sends a partridge in a pear tree, roots drinking rain. Second day of 12, stores hum, consumers cackle, creek sleeps, no doves sing. This is day 3, French hens pick at wet grass. Sun comes sooner, one more time. 4 birds call. 4th day from air, from earth, from trees. 1 white, 1 black, 2 gray. 5 gold rings around a falling moon. Is it the sun or is it my eyes? 6 goose eggs roll where none were, rainbow of life. Tomorrow is rest. 7 swans swim seas, sun, sister, souls celebrate, sacred stars sigh, sleep. 8 blessed maids milk love from clouds. Today's for the poor, the peacemakers. Today 9 ladies bearing fruit, spirit dancing as the tall grass sings. 10 lords leap on command. A rainbow touches land and we follow. A dozen, 1 went bad, 11 still to pipe the revelation. 12 drums speak order to 12th night's misrule today. Epiphany's Eve. Thank you.
Thank you, Cal. Awesome. Epiphany's Eve.
Mhm.
Julian, got you next.
Okay, I kept having ideas about what I would read as I listened, but and the last one I had a thing last year that I wrote that I called Winter Cyclone Haiku, but I couldn't get to it, so I'll not read it. I'll instead read this poem. It's called Nozick Synagogue. John Paul II dominates the street, squirreled away across and almost hidden by a next door small Yiddish theater, the shul, still occupied. The rabbi expected any moment, we are told. He arrives, and afterwards we don yarmulkes and enter, climbing stairs to the women's balcony, which now houses a picture gallery. Photos a bit worn depict black and white evictions, destitution, carts piled helter-skelter with the commonplace dross of domesticity, mattresses, pots and pans, wardrobes, rockers, tables, suitcases. We had not yet been to Auschwitz that day, not yet seen the looted horror of human hair and teeth and shoes displayed there, detritus evoking the millions dead. The shoes are hardest. Each pair suggests a living person. Here in the shul, memorials to their first struggle, carted into hovels in the ghetto. I am surprised by a sudden ache, surprised by the sharpness of it. Warsaw doesn't like to remember them. A small monument sits at Mile 18, a poor relation to the great Warsaw Uprising Memorial on Krasinski Square. Poorer yet than Stalin's wedding cake, we're shown. First exit from the train and through a several-story shopping mall that could be American, but for the signs in Polish. At the infamous Auschwitz Building 11, an American voice meant to be heard. You know what this is, don't you? This is the liberals trying to rewrite history. I take these things away, but possess a braver image. Downstairs in the shul, sunlight streams through an open window. In front of it, a hat rack holds a broad-brimmed black fedora, carefully hanging there, but forgotten, left behind, belonging to God knows whom, the rabbi, but a welcome anticipation of some commonplace retrieval. Thank you.
Wow, Julian, the whole poem, but that last line smokes. Ooh, I always say our open mics are fire.
Yeah. Oh,
You want to say something, Julian? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, I was so overwhelmed by that hat. I took a photo of it, which I wish I could show you, but I can't. Maybe sometime later. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah,
Julian,
problem.
Julian, if I may interject, this is Jerry. I lived in Warsaw for like a year
Yeah,
after the wall came down, and I know the history of Old Town
yes,
and what happened during World War II. But I really appreciate you reading that. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for your poem too.
yeah, it felt like in dialogue again. I have to say, really admire that you chose that, Julian, to keep that conversation going.
100%. Okay, we're ready?
Yes, Mike?
All right. It's called Fulfilling Promises. I was born long before my memory sees shapes and smells. I flew through the lava fields above a volcano. It erupted many times, sometimes singeing my wings, although not enough to bald my branches. The brachial tubes full of blood and life streaming into my heart on the downdrafts, encouraging flight on the quiet whisper of air, though the touch of it fills me, peaceful. Montagny, my homeland in Arabic, I cannot be extricated from it. It is not a place, space, or landmass. It is the whole of me, pillowed in emptiness, alive like curling smoke, the droplets of water between the particles of smoke. It is the mirrors I must understand. Not a moment too soon before the branches of life enrobe me, my thoughts, my silence, my tenderness. Any tension shunts to ground where my feet are firmly placed upon jagged mountains, where I'm checking the view of various worlds calling me. I go.
Oh, thank you. Yep, the whole of me pillowed in open smoke, empty smoke. Patricia? Don't forget to unmute, Patricia.
Okay, for the season, I'm gonna read Hanukkah haiku and also the kitty haiku for Christmas. Kosher kitty spins the dreidel, wins more treats. Hanukkah kitty looks for catnip. 8 days of meows. Hanukkah lights, shadow of the cat nibbling on latkes. Catitude escalates on Hanukkah. Oy vey is mir. Now we go to Christmas. Catmas. Kitty on treetop. The angel of death surveys damage below. Kitty's reflections. The grim reaper sights more ornaments. Body parts of balls scatter across living room. Kitty blames dog. Demolition kitty bulldozes Christmas tree. Timber. That's it. I kept it light. I was going to read something more serious, but
I love it.
it's the holiday.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's fabulous. But I think
Tragic one next time. Sorry.
oh no, what it reminded me of is somebody had hung their Christmas tree high up and their two cats were meowing down below, and then finally one of them finds a way up into the tree and is swinging. I thought, you try to keep it out of the reach, but
yeah, there was
it's
one
cat swing.
Yeah, there was one person on the TikTok. They 1 year the kitty attacked it. Next year they have the cat the tree upside down. The kitties were like desperate to climb up there. And then the last year they have the tree enclosed in some kind of a glass thing with hazard, danger, with flickering lights and everything. Like a danger zone. Don't go near.
I haven't seen that one, but now I know what to look up.
Yeah,
Thank you, Patricia.
it's very crazy.
I love Demolition
That's
Kitty.
So good. Shabala, I have you next.
Okay, so I can't say that this is the world's most cheerful poem, but it is holidays and it is World War II as well. And maybe it's today too. On Christmas Eve, 1940, my parents prepared, in the midst of an enemy invasion that would probably soon overrun their town, to dress as well as they could and gather with friends and family to celebrate. Because it was a good day. In Asia, it's considered bad luck, ingratitude to God, not to celebrate a good day. Even if your town was overrun with refugees from towns already conquered, even if bombs rained down from a sky you had no defense against, even if those you loved were dead or lost? Or perhaps lay injured somewhere, suffering horribly, and you would never know, even if. They listened to the news together, my parents, their friends, family, all the beloveds who could gather, along with the ghosts of the missing, waiting to hear that the benign colonizers who had ruled them and grown fat off the wealth of their labors, who had refused to provide the local home guard with guns and then turned coward and fled at the arrival of real threat, leaving the locals to face the music, that these good rulers would feel compassion or shame for that withdrawal and return. And so they listened religiously to the news. And there was Churchill coming on, a famous statesman, coming on the air, perhaps to say, it was Christmas Eve, have faith. Merry Christmas, all will yet be well. This is how he is remembered in mythology now. But what he said to my people then was, you are alone, not sufficiently important. We are abandoning Malaya, followed by a list of reasons. After which, my mother's sister died in that war, my father's brother, many others, just as they are dying today, while again, colonizers and colonizer nations and their statesmen explain why the killing is justified. A price paid in blood. Because some died, others, many, many others, must also die. This is all we still know. And so God, who loves us and loves especially every dead child, sent a child into this dark world on a dark night in the long ago to say peace. And perhaps someday even the rulers of nations will know shame, learn compassion, and listen to that word. Thank you.
Thank you, Shamala. Wow, holy smokes. I hope you're seeing everybody respond. You got a lot of, you can't hear it, but a lot of applause and lots of love. Phew. Karen, I'm coming your way. Don't forget to unmute.
Malika, you know what? I'm going to take a pass tonight. I came here fresh out of a MoMA Zoom writing thing, and my head's all a swirl with that, and I didn't finish it. So I don't feel like I have anything prepared, and I'm so enjoying everybody else's. I just want to bask in you guys tonight. I hope that's
Karen,
okay. I'm
course.
basking.
Anything you want to, I was going to say, anything you want to do, friend, is okay by me.
I just want
If
to
you would
absorb
like to perform an
everybody else.
interpretive dance of a beloved poem, we're good with that too. Marjorie, I'm coming to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Here's an insomnia poem to kind of go along with the one we heard earlier. Insomnia, somnolence, and it's a villanelle, 2020 to 2022. Her husband dead, my friend can't sleep. Another's lost his wife and naps around the clock. An old house weeps with all it sees, what it can't keep from slipping through the floorboard cracks to groan, your loved one's dead. Don't sleep a second with the grief that keeps repeating when you wake, the trap of loss and clocks. An old house weeps, counts days and nights by sighs that leap ahead and back, recurring map to somnolence. My friends, we sleep too much to stave off haunting grief that's always home. And when awake, the house won't rest, our dead won't sleep. Regret or joy still can't release us from our weeping for the past, the husband, wife, the friend, asleep, awake, time's house, love's clock still creaks.
Oh, Mommy.
Damn. That is form just working magic with the subject. Fabulous, Marjorie. Thank you. God, it was very haunting and I felt very turned around in it. That was interesting. Myra, you are our final reader, and we are so lucky.
Thank you so much. The the main poets and the rest of the poets. This has been a really wonderful hour. This is called Now You See It, Now You Don't. I was licking a coconut froze fruit, a dollop absconded. I saw that errant globule strike the sidewalk, a milky bead of transience on the blacktop, as yet itself, but rapidly dissolving. I am, I fancied that it chanted, its brief, barbaric yawp, its aphoristic fiesta. Thanks.
Oh, my.
Oh, fabulous. Your ways of saying things just stick with me. I just want to say thank y'all for being such good company. Jerry and Susanna, such a powerful, wonderful reading. I just feel like we got to witness some true magic and hopefully have started a tradition amongst you too.
It
That
was
other
a
people will get
pleasure.
to benefit.
Yes.
You know, I didn't notice when we were pinned, but Margaret McCarthy is here. We also read in the round, right? It's like maybe once or twice.
I had myself unmuted because there's construction work going right outside my window.
Oh,
The
no.
city never sleeps. So I was muted. But
So
yes, we did the round. Susanna loves the round robin.
I
And
do like it.
it sets up this conversation that's incredible. And sometimes you plan, okay, we're going to do this particular subject. So a poem on travel, a poem on music, or whatever. But it's still remarkable how the synchronicity happens. I seem to remember us reading poems about driving, and it was just like, oh my God, we're both, talking about being in New York and not driving, and it's just the synchronicity was really remarkable. So it's a great way to do a reading. It is.
Mm.
And I'm sorry, my name
Awesome.
tag didn't come up right. And anyway, Margaret McCarthy, nice to meet everybody.
See you again,
Thank
Margaret.
you.
Long time no
And here's
see.
Patty. Hey, Patty, we know each. It was so nice to
Did
hear
you
the
wanna-
haiku.
Yeah, I was
Did
going to
you
be
wanna read
very serious about Gaza, but I said, okay, I'm going to
Oh,
tonight because I heard too many haikus tonight.
but they always have a truth to them. They're so. But it was a pleasure.
Margaret, did you
hearing
want to
everyone
read a
read.
poem?
Thank you.
Did you want to read a poem?
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed listening tonight. I was so glad I
No
could
worries.
get here in time, and I will think about it next time. But thank you. Thank you all.
Awesome. Thank
Everybody
y'all
have
so
a
very
nice
much.
holiday.
Bye, everyone.
Be well.
See you
Safe
next
Have a
time.
holidays.
wonderful.
Happy holidays,
Susanna, good
everyone.
to see you.
Holidays.
I'm so glad I
Bye,
could
guys.
make this one. Yay.
Fun.
Yay.